So I think what I realized at that point was, and I think a lot of people get stuck in this, is they get stuck in a job to get a paycheck. And they're not doing something they love, and they're very unhappy. And I remember that was a turning point in my life where I was like, it wasn't that I was unhappy, but I just knew, like, this isn't me. This isn't what I'm meant to be doing right now. Like, you need to make a dramatic change. And I took action, and I made the change. I literally, if I didn't make that call that day, who knows what I would have been doing. You know? Well, I picked up the phone. I called what I wanted to do, and I made it happen. And I made sure it happened. You know, it was like I had that appointment on my date, and I was like, I'm not missing this day. This is like the turning point in my life. And I think a lot of people get real complacent doing what they're doing because maybe they're making a little cash. But, like, are you happy doing it? Like, do you actually love doing that? And you see that in training all the time now. A lot of trainers just become trainers because they're fit. But I was like, but do you love working with people? Do you want to help somebody? Or do you just doing it because you look good?
Yeah.
Right.
Or it's a paycheck, yeah. I think exactly what you're saying. I've seen so many people get complacent where they're at because of the paycheck, and then they look back at their life 20, 30 years. I've seen so many interviews, man, 20, 30 years later, 40 years later, and they're like, I wish I took the risk. You know, I wish I went and chased the dream that I wanted to do because the money's not worth it. The life wasn't worth it just to be comfortable, you know? And there really is no security in that.
Yeah.
You know, that company that you work for might be a multi-billion-dollar company, but it can go bankrupt tomorrow. And then thousands of people are out of jobs, you know? So it's like, we're here, we got one go around. My whole philosophy too is do what you love, you know, and do,
love and do what you will.
It's
love and do, is that Hannah?
No.
No. Okay, he does it every morning.
There's two things I promised my mom. One, no backflips drinking. And then two,
that's a good one, actually.
Two, no tattoos.
I think I've only done backflips when I was drinking.
And I've already broken one of the rules. So.
But dude, like,
where's your tattoo?
No.
The other thing is, like, even because call it like luck or intuition or whatever, you found exactly what you were like meant to do with that one phone call. But let's say someone isn't in a position like that, right?
Sure.
There's still a job that you can enjoy more, right?
Sure.
Like in a field or an industry that you're more interested in.
Yeah.
There's always something like that. So like you can always make a change that is better in a better direction, even if you don't end up in exactly what the end goal is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I always, like, I didn't finish college. I went to school. I figured out what I wanted to do. And I was like, that's what I'm doing. Now I'm here 10 years later, and I'm doing exactly what I said I was doing.
Good call.
But, you know, during school, though, during that process I was going there, I think there's an element where you're figuring shit out. Like, I remember growing up, I was like, my options are an astronaut, fireman, a policeman, whatever was a local job. Like, I was like, those are my options. But then you go to school and you're like, holy shit, there's software engineer, there's acting, there's, you know, designing. I was an interior designer for a major. I went for a little bit. I was like, there's so much that you can do and you're exposed to. And now, like with online, like you've got thousands of different opportunities and job and career paths. But I think people go for the most shiniest ones that they think this is going to be my biggest bang for a buck. And again, it's like a lot of the people that you see, like that's their passion. And there's a whole backstory that you're not seeing where they've gotten to that point. You know, and it's like acting. I'm not a huge actor. I don't know, but I hang out with Mark enough. I'm like, dude, that guy's been doing this for, you know, he's got these big movies for the last 10 years, but he's been doing it for 30 plus years.
10,000 hours.
Like, he didn't just get a role. Like, he's been doing this since he was 17 years old. But now that you see him in these big films, and you're like, yeah, well, I could be doing that. I'm like, yeah, well, put the work in.
And even he started in music and modeling, right? So like that's another example of like.
That's why I bought Calvin Klein underwear.
Yeah, totally. I'm wearing it right now.
I'm not, but I could be.
Right.
But it's taking that opportunity, you know, like he blew up, right? And he could have maybe got one or two films and totally blown the whole thing, but he changed. At least from my perspective, it looks like he has a work ethic and
the guy's insane.
Exactly. So he went and still took the opportunity that arose and then ran with it. And now he's, you know, Mark Wahlberg, right? He's one of the most successful actors in all of Hollywood ever. Yeah. So it's also one of those things, like people can get those same opportunities and it doesn't go anywhere because they don't put in the work. It's
I call him my mentor now, but you know, he's become a really good friend. And Gunnar Peterson, if you don't know who he is, he works for F45 and he's our chief athletics officer, and he's helping curate the next chapter of F45 on like a programming scale. And it's like, for me, that's super exciting for the future of F45 because he is such an inspiration to so many people when it comes to fitness. And like you look back and you see his posts and you see who he associates now, and you're like, you know, well, he trains people like Tom Brady, or he trains people like, you know, all the Kardashians, and you know, but he's trained these massively influential people. I actually got to meet Sylvester Stallone through him, which was fucking so cool.
That's amazing.
And one of my childhoods, but one of my
Legend.
Yeah, God, it was so cool. We were walking, and I was like, why is my heart beating so fast? But you know, you don't look at the backstory. You know, I'm with him a lot, and people are like, well, you know, I want to be training that. I want to be doing that. And I'm like, well, Gunner's done this for 40 years. Like, he didn't just get in the game all of a sudden one day and the Kardashians came up and trained him. Like, he earned that right. And but again, like when you see his posts, you just see him train these people, but you don't see the thousands of hours of work he's put in to get all the accreditations and you know, the topics that he speaks about. It's fast results, and I learned so much from that guy.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, you learn so much from that guy, and what I respect most about him is just his experience and the effort he's put in. He'll come in and we'll train when we go on work, like these work tours and events. Like, he's up at 5 doing his cardio for an hour, and he's lifting weights, and he is like, don't miss a session with Gunner. Like, you are going to get recommended. Like, the man is on it. Like, you missed a session this morning, and I like joked about it. She would have not texted me and made me feel bad, and it gave me a life lesson on why like responsibility showing up at that time is so important to like people that he cares about. You know, especially people that are counting on you. So, you know, you really let me down, but I let you off this time.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.